Hello everybody, welcome back to Squadrons and welcome to another PlayStation 4 review. Today's review is for Star Wars Squadrons that was released yesterday on PlayStation 4, and it is a game that has been eagerly anticipated by many Star Wars fans, and I guess myself included. I am certainly a Star Wars fan. I think whenever there's a new Star Wars game, especially from EA, it is met with a certain amount of trepidation, because I think it's fair to say that EA's mishandling of the Star Wars games up to now has been pretty, well, it's been widely documented. Now, right up until last year, I think EA have treated this franchise awfully. And then we got Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order last year, and that game was a huge success, and I really enjoyed that, and I did review that last year, and it is on the channel if you want to check that game out, the review for it. And it was a great success. It was a single player game, no microtransactions, and it was warmly received by fans. So when we all found out that this was going to be coming out, and it was again a Star Wars game with no microtransactions, with a strong story campaign and multiplayer added in for the dogfights, etc. Everybody was rightly quite excited for this. And what do we get with Star Wars Squadrons? Well, we kind of get exactly what they told us we were going to get, to be perfectly honest. And with Star Wars Squadrons, you get a really nicely packaged game that looks great, sounds great, and there's no catch really here. If you're a fan of Star Wars, you're going to enjoy this game. If you're a fan of old school Star Wars games, like especially the space combat games, you're going to like this game. It's a real joy to play for the most part, and I think it's priced perfectly at $34.99. I think that's what I paid for it in the UK. I think that is a fair price point for this game, because you get a game here, but it's not packed or jam-packed full of features, if I'm perfectly honest, and I think that's fair for the price point, I suppose. So first of all, you get a single-player campaign here. Now, at the single-player campaign, you are allowed to create and customize your characters, and I say characters because you can design a character for both the New Republic and the Empire, and the story is set following Return of the Jedi. The Empire has fallen, the Emperor is dead, but the Empire is not giving up its power that easily, and they are trying to track down and take out the New Republic. So you do these missions from two sides of the coin, if you like. You do some missions as the New Republic, the rebels, so you're fighting for good, if you like, and then you do some missions as the Empire. And what's great about the campaign, the single player campaign, is you might do a couple of missions as the New Republic, and you think you've done really well, and then you'll kind of jump in and do some missions as the Empire, and you'll see the other side of the coin, in a sense of that you'll do similar mission but from their perspective. So it's a nice, cohesive, well told story for the most part here, and it works really well. I haven't just completed the story yet, but I don't think I'm too far off it, and I've been playing it for about 8-9 hours, something like that. So depending on how fast you on what difficulty level you have the game on, you could probably have the story missions finished between 8 and 10 hours, I guess. And it's a pretty nicely put together campaign, I'm not gonna lie, and I did enjoy it for the most part, but I also did find it a little bit repetitive, because a lot of the missions, because you're limited, because you're in a ship, a lot of the missions are go here, do this thing, blow this thing up, protect this ship, etc, etc, and the only real variation that you get here is the ship that you might get to do it in. And you've got 4 classes of ships for the New Republic and the Empire. So you've got your classic X-Wing, and then you've got your bombers and your Y-Wings, all this kind of stuff. And they're all familiar to you. You will have seen them before in the movies and things. And exactly the same for the Empire. And that is one of my biggest criticisms of the game, really, is the variations of ships. There's not many of them. You don't get to fly any hero ships and things, and they both mirror each other. So you've got like the X-wing for the New Republic, and then you've got the TIE Fighter. They're basically the same ship, just new. They might look differently, but they fly very similar. And it's the same. You know, they've both got a bomber, all that kind of stuff. They've both got, you know, really fast ships, like scout ship type things. So they've both got very similar ships on either side. So it feels like you're flying the same ship, just with a different skin, to be honest. So I think it is worthwhile, the story. It is enjoyable, but be warned, it does get quite repetitive. I haven't experienced any bugs playing the game, if I'm honest. Certainly not yet, but I've been playing on a PlayStation Pro, so that might have something to do with it. I'm not really sure. You can fully customize your ships. You can change its paint job, what decals it's got on it. You can even put things on your dashboard and things dangling at it from there. And inside the cockpits look incredible. I mean, the game looks fantastic. It really, really does. And inside the cockpit, it's a joy to behold. It really is. It looks amazing. But you can only play the game from that perspective. You can't come out of the ship and see it from a different perspective. It's just from inside the cockpit how you play the game. But it works, you know what I mean. Now, I'm a big fan of the old Wing Commander games, the ones on the PlayStation 1. The one with Mark Hamill in and Malcolm McDowell. Great games, great stories, and you used to do some missions in the ship. You'd land on your ship, you'd talk to some people, and it was really good, and you felt like you were part of a mission. And I think that was the feel this game was going for, because you will do a mission, you'll land back on your ship, and then you could talk to your squad, whether you be New Republic or Empire. But they just talk to you. There's no interaction here. You don't make any choices, and it's just chatter, really. So it feels a bit bland in between missions, and I think they could have done a little bit more here. Let you explore the ships a little bit more. Let you get involved in conversations. Maybe make some choices. See a kill board. I mean, that was always exciting on the Wing Commander games. You'd see a kill board and you'd see how many you'd killed and who was the top of the leaderboard and things like that. And it really felt like it was exciting to be on the spaceship before the missions. So it's set up very similar to those old Wing Commander games. It's just there's far less to do in between missions. There are some familiar faces turn up in the story. I won't spoil it really as to who, but nothing amazing. But you will, if you're Star Wars fans, you'll know who they are when you see them. And there are, I can clarify, no microtransactions in this game. None to be seen, which is really, really great. All the things that you can unlock to customize your ships are all done through missions and multiplayer missions, which we're going to come on to now. So what is my experience of playing multiplayer? Well, if you know me and you know my channel and my gaming experiences, I'm not a big fan of multiplayer, but there's no point getting a game like this if you're not going to participate in the multiplayer. So I have played the multiplayer on this, and I can report back that I've had no issues. I've always been able to find a match. It's played out nicely. I'm not saying I'm any good at it or anything, but it's fair. Not like the Battlefront 2 space battles where one shot and you're dead. It takes a little bit more to take you out. You've got a little bit more control over your ship here, and I've enjoyed the multiplayer battles, and they are a lot of fun. And once you get up to level 5, I think it is, then you can unlock fleet battles. So you've got dogfights and fleet battles, and that's pretty much your lot. And the fleet battles is exactly what it sounds like. You're taking out fleets, which is far more involved than the dogfights. The dogfights is 5-on-5 type missions, seeing who can come out on top. and the fleet battles are a little bit more involved, as you can imagine. But I've enjoyed both, I'm not going to lie. They have been fun. Like I say, they seem fair, and if you're a skilled fighter you'll do well, but even if you're not a skilled fighter like me, you're still going to do reasonably well and get a couple of kills in these missions and level up. It does seem a fair experience, so I've no real problem with the multiplayer. So to sum this game up then, it is a nice package. It's a fair price, but there are levels of disappointment here for me. There's not enough ships. There's not enough to do on the multiplayer, I suppose. There's only 2 modes, 2 matches. The story is good, but it's over reasonably quickly, and there's in between missions there's not enough to do. I just feel as though this probably could have done with a little bit more put into it to make it a little bit more immersive now and again. I did find it a little bit repetitive, but if you're a fan of space flight simulators like me, I love Elite Dangerous. I love this new Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, but this game is none of them really. It's its own thing, but it's a decent enough game. But I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I'm not going to lie, there's a little bit of disappointment there for me with this game, but I think those of you that have been excited to play it, I think it is definitely worth getting for you, especially if you're a fan of playing multiplayer. From my perspective, I am certainly enjoying the game, and I will probably continue to enjoy the game for some time yet. So that is my review for Star Wars Squadrons. I hope you liked it. I definitely hope you found it useful, and of course I will be back with more content and reviews on Screen Stars very, very soon.